Hey everyone, I'm your girl Erica, coach and meditation instructor. And this space and this place is where you get to press the reset button on your life and realign to the present moment. Today's topic is on find your purpose and lead with passion. Find your purpose and lead with passion. My intention for each and every week is to make these weekly sessions simple, easy, and effortless. Because when you do see living mindfully and practicing meditation as being simple, easy, and effortless, then you'll engage in the practice of doing it on a daily basis until it becomes a natural part of your being. Initially, it might seem like a lot of practice and practice and practice and practice. But eventually, you'll lean into the ease of doing it until you naturally become it. So, as I mentioned, today's topic is on find your passion and find your purpose and lead with passion. There are 3 keys that I'll focus on today. And while there are many keys tied to this particular topic, there are 3 that I find to be most helpful. Number 1 is to connect with heart. Number 2 is to connect with joy. Remember that? And number 3 is to connect with life. Hey there in Florida. Thank you for coming. So happy to have each and every one of you on today's call. So number 1, connect with heart. In fact, did I mention the 3? Let me go back. Miss Florida here, which I'm so grateful that you are here on today's segment. I think I got a little sidetracked and maybe my mind went to Florida. I think I need some warmth over here in New York City. Oh my goodness, it's been so cold. So the 3 keys are connect with heart. Number 2 is connect with joy. And number 3 is connect with life. All right, so let's get into it. Number 1, connect with heart. Have you ever been around someone that lives life with such intention that everything they do is aligned and connected to what brings them great joy? And have you ever been around someone that doesn't live life with great intention? And that everything or most of what they do is connected with pain and struggle. There is a distinct difference in character, in attitude, and how each person sees and experiences life. Why is that? Why? Why are some of us programmed for a life that doesn't work for us? Finding a job that doesn't work for us, in relationships that don't work for us, doing things that consistently bring us pain. And why is it that some of us live life with levity, absolute levity and joy, curiosity, fun, laughter? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever sat back and considered what makes the difference? Living life with heart means that you are in alignment with life. You are connected to life in the deepest aspect of your being. And oftentimes, that level of connection is tied to a deep-rooted purpose in life, a deep-rooted mission in life. Many times, people that are living their life with great purpose, their life is absolutely connected to an intention. Even if they are not consciously aware of it, They are actively living it in real time. Last week or the week prior, I talked about intention setting for the year. So if you haven't seen that segment, please just check some of my older videos within the past week or two. And I talk about intention setting and goal setting, but more specifically, the intention setting aspect and bringing that energy, evoking that energy of alignment into your life will allow you to live a life with great understanding that nothing or everything that you do must be congruent with the intention that you set. So when we live a life with heart, it reminds me of a child. Have you ever just sat back and watched a kid and noticed how joyful they are, how connected to life they are, and connected to heart? When we think about connecting with heart, it really is tied to living our truth. The truth of who we are. Not any labels that are placed upon us. Not trying to live out our family's expectations of us or what we perceive to be success. But really living life. I remember a time when I had no idea what my purpose was. And I shared this also maybe about a month ago in one of my segments. I had no idea what my purpose was. I was so connected to this idea of what I thought success looked like that I was disconnected from my heart. I was disconnected from my truth and disconnected from every ounce of joy in my being. Sometimes we do things without sitting back and asking, is this right for us? Does this resonate with my heart? Does this bring me absolute joy? Perhaps you know something about this. Perhaps you've experienced this. Or perhaps you know someone going through this right now. Wherever you are on the spectrum of life, I'm here to tell you that at any moment, you can change the direction of your life. At any moment, you can reroute what is most important to you. Which leads me to key number 2. Connect with joy. Connect with joy. My goodness. Yesterday, I participated in a virtual wedding for one of my girlfriends. And because of COVID, she decided to do virtual plus in-person. So the in-person was a very small group of her family members. And everyone else attended virtually. And here's the thing that I love about her. She decided that she is moving to Panama. Made the decision that is where she wants to live out her retirement years. And while she isn't quite 100% retired yet, she wants to evoke that energy of freedom in a different country. She's not from Panama, doesn't have family members in Panama, but she has traveled there, and she has a deep-rooted connection there. Her heart feels aligned there. And there is where she's experienced a lot of joy. So she made the decision that, you know what, financially, it's right. Because there are no real extreme financial restrictions for her moving there. Same money less cost of living while being there, or lower cost of living while being there, so she can do more and even travel more. So she's mapped out what makes sense to her. And that freedom for her is what brings her the greatest joy. So when we look at connecting with joy, what does that look like for you? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about what brings you absolute joy? And have you ever looked at your life to determine if the life that you're living is in alignment with that joy? I tell you, when I found my purpose, there isn't anything that I am willing to do that counteracts that level of joy for me. Living a life of joy, living a life of purpose, living a life of heart are all connected. They are one and the same. And oftentimes, if you were to look at your life as a child, before all of the layers of life existed, all of the responsibilities, perhaps failed relationships, or other things that made you consider or see life opposite of what you thought life would be, have you ever thought, what would make the difference for me to return to more freedom and levity? So, thank you for that. Jay empowers. Yes, connecting with joy. What does that look like for you? Absolutely. Think about that. What does that look like for you? And oftentimes, our childhood and the way we lived life is where we will find the answer. That is how I found my purpose. I was post-divorce in my almost mid-30s, early to mid-30s, when I started to reflect on the things that mattered to me. What I thought was my version of rock bottom, being divorced and having 2 kids, being over 200 miles away from my family, and having to do this thing called life, divorce, and restructuring of my life alone. That was my version of rock bottom. But what I will tell you, it was the perfect start for me to build a life of real truth. I started to ask myself the deeper questions of life, which I will ask of you to do as well. Number 1 is to ask yourself, who am I? Who am I at the core of my being outside of all of this stuff? Who am I really? I need to tap into the truth of who I am so I'm not swept away by all of this stuff. Even if for you, you haven't really experienced a lot of pain. Perhaps life has been really good for you. And what I mean by good is you haven't experienced a lot of struggle. Not everyone has. And even in those that haven't experienced a lot of struggle, it doesn't mean that you are living a life that's not connected to your purpose, but perhaps your purpose is evolving and changing, because that happens as well. So leaning into what's evolving and changing within you is important. And also, if you haven't experienced a lot of struggle, it doesn't mean that you're living a life on purpose either. So this topic applies to anyone from any aspect of where you are. As we connect with our joy, that's where we begin to connect with our peace. And when I started asking myself the deeper questions, going back to that. Who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? What am I called to do? And I would ask myself those questions every single day. I would write in my journal. And I didn't have any answers then. So sometimes it felt very frustrating. And maybe that might be the case for you. That there are a lot of question marks around this purpose thing and living purpose, and what does that really look like? What I can say is that the answers aren't just found by writing them down. That's the first step. But in living life, you begin to understand what's important to you. What allowed me to connect the dots was remembering my childhood. Interesting, right? Remembering my childhood before I saw life the way I thought the life I was living. Remembering what peace and joy and true laughter and happiness was. As a kid, I was always creative. Always. I would put on performances in my neighborhood and invite all of the parents to see me perform. And they came. And I found such joy in doing that. In fact, even as a kid, my father would buy me a wig. I loved my dad. He's since passed on, but boy, he really did support this creativity, this creative Erica. He helped support that. He was my wingman. He would buy me a wig and he would buy me a boa. And back then, they had plastic high heel shoes for kids with a rubber band on the outer part so that you could slip your feet in them. And you would buy them at the grocery store. So I would have my plastic heels on. I would put on my boa, put on my wig, and I was ready to perform. And it brought me such joy. I would sing my heart out, and I would pretend to be, some movie star. And I absolutely loved this creative, playful world. My mind was so imaginative. So during my most difficult time in life, I somehow remember that. It's as though that true calling within my being was bringing me back home, bringing me back to what true peace was. And in having that reminder of joy, it allowed me to find my purpose. I started tapping back into the things that brought me joy. I started taking acting lessons. I was in a few commercials and I did a small film post-divorce. And that eventually morphed into other work on television when I started my business. So what I'm here to impress upon you is that oftentimes where we will find our purpose and passion is to reflect upon a time in our life when we felt true levity, true peace, and absolute, undeniable joy. Which leads me to key number 3, which is connect with peace, connect with life, connect with life, connect with life. And this, as I mentioned before, is where true peace is. It is where we are supported by the universe, because remember, we're now living with heart. We've connected with heart. We're connecting with joy. We're in our zone. And absolutely, now we've entered the stage of connecting with life. This is where life supports you in everything that you're doing, because you are living in alignment with everything that creates a life that you want. There's no separation between you and it. Now you're living in flow. Essentially, that's the point of all of this, is that you are living in flow. So, for this aspect of our session, we will lead into an exercise that taps into that for you. I'm so grateful that you and I have this moment together, a moment in which we get to connect and meet and experience life together. Perhaps be reminded of who we are, perhaps learn something new, perhaps have some laughter along the way, but ultimately connecting to the deepest part of who we are so we can live a life with true joy. My intention for each and every session is to make it simple, easy, and effortless. So simple, easy, and effortless that you'll engage more in the practice of living mindfully and connecting into and participating in a daily practice of meditation. Let's get ready to lock in and seal in today's session, and then we'll go through an exercise tapping into your purpose and that purpose connecting in with passion. Please realign yourself in your seat, or readjust rather in your seat, making sure that your back and body are comfortable, at ease. Because if there's any tension in our body based on how we're sitting, our mind will go directly to where the pain is versus being fully present right here in listening and experiencing this moment together. Round out your shoulders, which will help to also realign your back. And your back does not have to be ramrod straight, but as straight as possible, okay? Not to the point of feeling uncomfortable. All right, so let's bring our attention to this part of our face, ensuring that we're not clenching down on our teeth, which then creates some tension here in our face. We want to relax that part of our face by perhaps having a little space between the upper palate of our mouth and the lower palate of our mouth. And then just relaxing our eyes, making sure that we're not carrying any tension there or squinting. Just truly relaxing that part of our face. And then paying attention to what we're doing right around our eyebrows, ensuring that we're not frowning, but releasing any tension there. So softening every part of our face. And as we breathe in and lock in today's mindful topic, we'll breathe in through our nose and we'll exhale through our mouth. All right? So let's breathe in together through our nose and exhale through our mouth. Let's breathe in again through our nose and exhale through our mouth. Breathe in again through our nose. And exhale through our mouth. You can close your eyes and just internally scan your body from head to toe. Just notice any subtle changes that are happening. And being fully present and aware without judgment. This time we'll breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth, and I'll ask that you hold your breath for 4 seconds. I will do the count so you can focus totally into your breathing. Let's inhale through our nose. Exhale through our mouth. And hold the breath on 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's inhale through our nose. Exhale through our mouth. Hold the breath on 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's inhale again through our nose. Exhale through our mouth. Hold the breath on 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's inhale again through our nose. Exhale through our mouth. Hold the breath on 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's release the breath. Return to the natural inhalation and exhalation. Again, internally scanning our body from head to toe, noticing any subtle changes that are happening, and just being grateful for whatever shows up. Let's return to our breath work. Inhaling again through our nose. Exhaling. And holding the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's inhale through our nose. Exhale through our mouth. Holding the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling through our nose. Exhaling through our mouth. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling through our nose. Exhaling through our mouth. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's release the breath. Return to the natural inflow and outflow of your breathing. And again, just scanning the body from head to toe. We'll now go deeper into our meditation. I'll ask you questions that connect in with the deepest aspect of yourself, tapping into that purpose and allowing that purpose to come full forward in your mind's view. I ask that you take a journey with me today, peeling back the layers of years in reverse. I ask that you Tap into your childhood years. A time in your life when you experienced the greatest joy. Before you even knew what sadness was. I ask that you have a scene in your mind of what that is. And if your childhood was not as pleasant, now is the time to recreate it the way that you want. What would that childhood look like? What would that joy look like for you? Create the scene in your mind. What's around you? What do you see? Pinpoint the colors. Are you on a playground? Do you hear kids laughing? Where are you? Just identify the colors right now. And now tap into what you hear. Can you hear your parents talking? Can you hear your sibling laughing? Or perhaps you're talking to a friend, or maybe you're just laying on the grass talking to God. Get a visual picture of what you hear right now. Now let's go deeper into this visualization exercise. What did you love to do as a child? What did you love doing as a child? Tap into that joy and feel it at the core of your being. What does that joy feel like to you? What lights your soul on fire? What lights your soul on fire? Tap into what that is and what that feels like to you. Now let's bring that image and transport yourself back in time to this moment. Feeling what that joy is, remembering what you loved to do, or perhaps you've created that childhood now. and holding on and harnessing that energy of what joy looks like, of what connecting to heart feels like, and now what connecting with life looks like. If there were no limitations in your life right now, this very moment, no hindrances, no blocks, absolutely nothing to stop you, what would you do right now in your life? Now that you have that image in your mind and that feeling that connects with that image of freedom to live the life that you were created to live, what can you do to create margin for the life that you see in your life? To create margin for the life that you see in your mind. What is one step that you can take to live that life? Only one step. Now I want you to visually see a calendar over the next 7 days. When will you take that step? If there was a dart and you were to aim that dart on a calendar for the next 7 days, where would you land that dart? To indicate that this is the day that I will take that step. Visually see that day of the week. Imprint that day on your mind. And label it Freedom Day. And the day that you enter and take that step, life changes for you in that moment. Feel what it feels like to take that step, to live a life connected to your purpose, a life connected to your joy, a life connected to your heart, a life connected to who you know yourself to be. Feel into the passion of what that life looks like for you. And now, visualize yourself on that day whatever day you've chosen for that week in the next 7 days. And plant yourself right there. At the end of that day, after having taken that step to live your passion, to honor the gift within you to be free to live it, what are you grateful for after having taken that step? Tap into what you're grateful for. Please release all of the questions and answers and imagery in your mind. And return to the natural inflow and outflow of your breathing. Just feeling into the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe in and as you breathe out. We'll now go deeper into our meditation. I'll introduce today's Sanskrit mantra, which is aham, aham, aham. Please continue repeating it silently, almost as though it's a faint whisper in your mind. If you notice that your attention has drifted to thoughts in your mind, sounds in the environment, or sensations in your body, please bring all of your attention back to repeating today's mantra. Aham. Please continue meditating. I will mind the time and let you know when the meditation is up. Please release the mantra and return to the natural inflow and outflow of your breathing. Resting in existence. Resting in being. Resting in awareness. Existence, awareness, being. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Just rest. I'll now introduce today's intention. As I repeat the intention, allow it to flow through your entire body. In fact, you can silently repeat the intention with me. Today's intention is joyful, energetic body. Joyful, energetic body. Keeping your eyes closed, you can stretch your body out of today's exercise, a practice of meditation rather, and visualization exercise. And just feel into the stretch with eyes closed. Perhaps stretching your neck to the right, or your head to the right, and feeling the stretch in your neck on the right side. And then tilting your head to the left and feeling the stretch. And then straightening your head, putting the palms of your hands together at your heart center, and bowing in gratitude to your soul for today's practice. And when you're ready, lifting your head and slowly opening your eyes and extending the blessing. Namaste. Namaste. The light in me honors the light in you. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing this moment with me. Thank you so much for your comments and in writing things that were reflective from today's session. I hope that you found great value in today's topic around finding your purpose, leading with passion. The 3 keys that I discussed today around this topic are: number 1, connect with heart; number 2, connect with joy; and number 3, connect with life. Our next session will be in 2 weeks. I'm taking off next week to celebrate my oldest son's 26th birthday. Can you believe I have a 26-year-old? Or soon to be 26-year-old. So I'll be celebrating his birthday next weekend, and we will reconvene in 2 weeks. In terms of a topic or our next topic, which will be that first weekend in February, I will leave it to you. You can either type in the chat what you would like me to discuss in February, that first weekend in February, or you can send me a private messenger message on Instagram, and I will pick amongst the choices and decide which one to do for that week. All right? On our next session, please invite a friend, a family member, anyone that you know that can benefit from these sessions. I would be most grateful that you share what we do each week with others. It matters to build a community of people in alignment with living a life that creates more joy, that creates more meaning and purpose and connection. Because the kinder that we are to ourselves and being able to live that truth that we have in our life, it allows us to then create things that are much more connected to life, and we have relationships that are healthy. When we're happy, everyone around us feels that joy and happiness. And also, the work that we begin to produce is much more meaningful and in alignment with truth, with life, and with the deepest part of our being. So it serves a greater purpose, if you will. It's not just for us, but it's the work that we begin to do that connects with the heart of someone else. That helps too. All right, so thank you so much for joining, and I will see you in 2 weeks. And as usual, your purposeful journey begins right here. I'll see you then.